Hey, I'm Scott Grove, and I thought I might take a moment to let you know a little more about me, what I've done, who I am, how long I've been doing this, just to let you know why I might be qualified to give you business and marketing advice. So I hope this might help. Let me start in the beginning. I'm a third generation artist, so all I've ever known is creativity and making things. That's just been my life, and I didn't really know there was anything else but that. I became a professional artist when I was 16 and started selling work at a local art gallery. I also won a county-wide drafting competition and got a full-time job for 2 summers drafting. I think they were just looking for cheap labor, but I learned a lot there. Honed my hand drafting skills and drawing skills, which is great. Of course, now I use AutoCAD. As a child, I was very hyperactive, probably ADD. Of course, they didn't know what that was back then, and very dyslexic. I'm now proud to say that I actually made it through high school and college without reading one book. That's right, never read a book until after college. So fast forward, so I did go to college at RIT, Rochester Institute of Technology, and I have a design degree in environmental design with a minor in sculpture. I also studied at the School for American Craftsmen, which is a very prestigious craft school. I also learned to juggle at RIT too, and we'll get to that in a bit. During the summers, a roommate and mine, we used to build decks, and that was really the start of our business endeavors. We would build the decks like no one else built decks, very handcrafted, very unique. And then one summer, my mother wanted to build a very massive 2-story addition on her house. So she let my partner and I apprentice under a master craftsman. This guy, Rolly Amundsen, was great. He was the real deal. That's all he's ever done is carpentry. In fact, his thumbs were fatter than the word wide because he hit his thumb so many times with a hammer. His thumbnail was actually like a U shape. It was kind of bizarre, but great guy, and I learned a lot from him. And we did everything. We did concrete, foundations, masonry, stonework, steelwork, all the framing, all the siding, all the flooring, roofing, painting, drywall, you name it, we did it. Wonderful learning experience. My mother got a great deal, and I'm very proud to have that opportunity. The next summer, my partner's parents wanted to build a 2-story addition on their house, and that was great because then this time we had the experience, and we designed it and built it completely ourselves without a master carpenter showing us the way, and that was also a really wonderful experience. After graduation, my partner and I decided let's form a business. So we formed our first corporation and continued building decks and kind of phased into additions, and it was really great. Winters were slow, so I actually knew the direction we were heading in, so I apprenticed as an electrician. I also apprenticed as a plumber and learned those trades also. That allowed us to start buying houses, renovating houses, and flipping houses. That was even before people knew what flipping houses was. And it was really great to be sort of master of your own domain, if you will, and have total control. A lot of times we overbuilt, and but we did okay. We were doing kitchens with pre-bought kitchens, and soon realized that we could probably make these kitchen cabinets ourselves. So we opened our first shop, and it was a great way of getting into the cabinetry side of the industry. Our first shop was a barn with a dirt floor and a table saw. There we did architectural millwork and whatever we needed to do to make things happen. We soon moved into a shop with a real wooden floor, and there we started doing built-ins and started making our own kitchen cabinets. Rochester is a very historic town, so that had the opportunity for us to do historic restoration, which is kind of a much higher level of architectural millwork. It's really great. And that also then led to my architectural fiberglass company, where an architect wanted us to reproduce one element. We had the skills to be able to carve it, but we had to make a bunch of them. So he suggested, hey, why don't you try making a mold from that, and you can make it out of fiberglass. And I'm a research nut, so I started looking into it, and we struggled through it. We managed to do that, and that became a whole other viable business, architectural composites, which I still do today. Our business started growing pretty quickly. Between the architectural fiberglass and the millwork, we had at one point 25 employees in 2 locations, and it was getting crazy. I did everything myself as far as the administration. The accounting back then was all done by hand with double entry system. Just learned everything. A couple of my clients were very successful businessmen and sort of took me under their wing, and that was a great experience. They taught me a lot about business, how to run a business, bookkeeping. In fact, they even lent me their bookkeepers who I hired part-time, and they taught me how to bookkeep when I would screw them up. And I really focused on how to run a business and the bookkeeping side of business activities. I mean, running a business is a whole nother ball of wax compared to working with your hands and digging ditches. And I embraced that. I had enough of sort of digging ditches, so running a business was really enjoyable to me, and I really dove into it. I wanted to learn everything I possibly could to do that. I was always looking for a faster way, so if there was, back then, they had checks with carbon paper underneath it, so when you wrote the check down, it would make a duplicate right down in your journal book. That was faster. I embraced it. And then when computers came along, obviously I was all about that, just to keep my records more accurate and to save me time. Saving time is the name of the game, and being as efficient as you can. So I really embraced learning everything I could about business and how to do it as quickly and accurately as I can. And along this time, I still knew I wanted to pursue sort of the artistic side of things, the sculpture and the handmade furniture. So on weekends, I would do all these craft shows, these outdoor craft shows or mud shows. I mean, we have every festival known to man. We have the apple blossom and the cherry blossom and the canal days and summer days and grape days, and you name it, we got it. So every weekend, I was out there selling my little widgets. I was doing little clocks and mirrors and jewelry stands and all that stuff. But it was a great opportunity to hone my salesmanship and how to talk to clients. Really great experience. It was hard work. Every weekend I was out there sweating it out with the rest of them. Then in 1993, we had a massive fire that burned down a 5-story building with $75,000 worth of finished, paid-for product in it. It was devastating. It was a really shock to our system. We were not prepared for it. Learned a lot about insurance and how to deal with that, and don't cut corners there. But we fought back. It took us 2 years. We managed to remake everything, fight back, and actually come out even at the end. But after 2 years, my partner kind of had enough. He was still a bachelor. I was married, had 2 kids. I had a reason to get up in the morning, had to put my pants on every day and make a living, provide for my family. He still wanted to do the sort of bachelor thing, which was great. So we parted on good terms. I then took over the business, started a new corporation under my own name, and started a cabinet shop. I started with a 2,000 square foot cabinet shop, a couple employees focusing on the residential and commercial cabinetry and conference tables and reception desks that I was doing. I still had my architectural composites company, so it was nice to have a couple avenues to work back and forth. But I was also able to pursue my own designs and start making my first line of furniture. At that point, I transitioned from the outdoor festivals to the big time shows. I was doing all the major shows across the country, from New York City, Philadelphia, Washington, D.C., Baltimore, San Francisco, you name it, I did it. Top shows, was doing very well, got picked up to by 32 galleries across the country, was doing some very high-end work for some very prominent collectors, and it was really great, and that was really where I wanted to be. I grew my shop from 2,000 square feet to about 10,000 square feet, had roughly between 3 to 6 to 8 employees. I would always take interns from RIT. 1 year I hired the entire graduating class. It was a good experience, but now I was ready to transition from business, because I had a full-time bookkeeper now, to marketing and sales, and I dove into that with a vengeance. At my peak, I sold 350 pieces in 1 year. We were cranking this stuff out. I had a production shop. I implemented a 32 millimeter system, which allowed me to be very flexible in my custom designs and offer clients choices that they normally wouldn't get. I was very competitive, using modern day sort of technology and system construction with sort of the customized veneer and carved work. And you can take a look at my other video on actually what kind of work I was doing. My business was now sort of hitting the ceiling, if you will. I couldn't add a zero. I felt like I was growing. I had a massive overhead, employees, insurance, up the wazoo, and really felt like I couldn't make that next step, whatever that step was. So Wendell Castle in 2008 approached me and asked me to run his shop. And I'm not one to run anybody's coattails, but I felt the economy was starting to turn a little bit. Wasn't quite sure. I mean, we were booming, but it just kind of felt like we were hitting a ceiling. So I took his offer. He made an offer I couldn't refuse, quite frankly. So I got all my employees jobs, had the auction of the century, shut down my shop. I went to work for Wendell, which is a great experience. Unfortunately, at this time in 2009, the recession really hit, and it hit everybody. So he had to make a tough decision. He had to let me go, which was fine. I was the last one in, first one out. When I left Wendell, I still wanted to ride out the storm, so I was offered a position as creative and marketing director for an architectural firm. They were a startup firm that had 6 employees, and for the next 3 years, I helped market and sell that company, and we grew that firm to a 28-employee firm. That was a wonderful experience. Learned a lot about architecture, did larger projects. Kind of funny though that I would sit in a cubicle all day, and that was weird, because when I got there, I was like, boy, how can everybody sit all day long? And then of course when I went back on my own again, it's like, man, how can I stand all day long? So kind of a reality check there. Around this time, I was also approached by Mark Adams of the Mark Adams School of Woodworking, probably one of the best woodworking schools in the world. He asked me to come and teach a class for him, and I absolutely loved it. I can't say enough about that. I really enjoy sharing information, everything that I know. I want to learn from everybody else. I just love learning. And I've been there for about 9 years now, and when I go there, I sometimes learn more than I teach, I feel. I learn a lot from the students inspire me. There are other instructors there that teach me also, and it's just a great world. Since then, I've been teaching at the Chippendale School of Furniture in Scotland, along with other selective teaching opportunities around the country, and I now also judge national shows and guilds, and also I've given a TEDx talk on my views on technology and crafts, and I really enjoy that sharing of knowledge. And of course now I'm here in YouTube, because I think this is really the way of the future, and it's another venue for me to share knowledge. I've also written 2 books, Advanced Veneering and Alternative Techniques, and Hardwood Edging and Inlay for Curved Tables. So I really enjoy that, and I hope you pick them up. So a couple years after I was divorced, I then ran into, on Facebook, believe it or not, my childhood sweetheart from high school. We were on a gymnastics team together. She was living out west, and consequently we finally got together, got remarried, and bought a beautiful slice of heaven in the hills of the Finger Lakes in western New York. I now have a 2,000 square foot shop here, right on site. I absolutely love it. For the first time in my life, I'm sort of working by myself. I have a couple interns now and then. I pull in craftsmen when I need it on larger projects, and I'm pursuing one-of-a-kind custom work. And of course, I still teach, I write, and now I've got a new addiction here on these YouTube channels. So I hope you enjoy a little insight on what I do. Hopefully that gives you gives me a little credibility. I'm going to be sharing on future videos my business practices, marketing tips. Oh, by the way, my wife is a marketing consultant. She really advises me on a lot of big picture marketing things. I really enjoy marketing. I enjoy sales. I enjoy design. I enjoy sharing knowledge. So I hope this is helpful, and I hope to see you soon.